Hello, and welcome to Why I Love Warhammer, the series where I go into an unscripted ramble about why I love something in this hobby. And on today's episode, it is the Agents of the Imperium. These guys used to just be like auxiliary support for your otherwise Imperial aligned faction, but as of recently, they made them their own faction, which I think is brilliant because the Agents of the Imperium do feature models that they just have a very different aesthetic to them. Inquisitors don't feel like Space Marines. They don't feel like Imperial Guard. The stuff like the assassins don't look like, say, Imperial Knights. So even though you can align them, it felt weird to have them as auxiliaries. It feels far more thematic, feels fluffier that they're an allied group. So it's, oh yeah, I've got these knights, or I've got this Astra Militarum, or this Adeptus Sororitas Sisters of Battle, and I'm allying in assassins, not these assassins are part of my army. And I think they just have a really unique look to them, and I like that they're far more at the civilian level. Like, I'd never make it in the Imperial Guard. Maybe I could be an Inquisitor. Or I'd probably be a servitor, let's face it. But there's levels to it. They feel more down to earth, more grounded. That they interact with civilians, and I think that's important for the general fluff of the setting. So that's something really important with them. The other thing is that because they're at that level, they can feel a lot more unique, which works really well for the characters here. The battle line units are far more dudes in armor, but they don't look like Space Marine armor, so they still feel like they work. So, this is Inquisitor Karamazov, who he looks really cool in the chair. He looks imposing, like throne meets dreadnought. He's got. It's an interesting thing that you get a few models. He mirrors the Silent King as well. He's your main dude's in the chair, and you got two dudes either side. Of course, this guy's a far older sculpt. So he's interesting from that perspective. But again, I was a huge fan of If the Emperor Had a Text Speech Device, and his characterization in that series, even though it's not canon, it's kind of what I've come to accept as canon for this guy. And there's also an amazing conversion I saw of this guy as Father Ted, with Father Jack and Father Dougal as the two dudes either side, which was a phenomenal conversion. But I just think he's generally pretty cool. He looks like a good leader. He's a huge model in comparison to the other agents of the Imperium. So he works really well as a leader. He looks intimidating. He's got a good big gun, just really lovely sculpt, and it just works well to have this guy leading your agents of the Imperium. The Euclidean Star Strider started out as just a kill team that was their own box alongside the Galapox Infected, but as part of the agents, I think they work really well. I love the dog. I think the dog's really cool. I like how unique they all look. My favourite of this group, though, is this lady here, because I just love the hat with the feathers and the kind of pseudo veil thing. Makes it look a bit Cthulhu-esque, but I think it's just they're all really phenomenal sculpts. And what's good with the kill teams is you can make them they feel really unique, and I think that really kind of enhances where they sit in your army. And these guys being there are really eye-catching. And when you're playing an army like this, I think eye-catching is what you really want to be aiming for. So these guys fill that niche for your list so well. Okay, the this assassin. This is the Warhammer Plus version. This is the version I own as a model. I just think it's really cool. It looks like a sniper who's doing his work. The terrain piece he sat in, I think, looks really cool as well. It was a really fun model to paint, and even though I've got nothing against the other sculpt, the one that's available to people who weren't subscribers, early on. I think it's just a really nice looking model, and I think it really fits. I love diorama pieces, especially, well, mostly for when it's armies that I don't have like the full 1,000 or 2,000 points of. I think they just look really attractive to have, just to have and to own, and this one really fits that down to a T. This assassin as well, I think, just looks phenomenal. I love the skull face. The gun is like bolt pistol meets the Team Fortress 2 medic's gun. He's leaping off terrain, and it just looks really effective in this instance. He's leaping off fully sideways, the proper like Matrix style action shot. Phenomenal design on this model, and I just think it's really, really cool. This assassin here, the long skull. The long skull skeeved me out at first, but it's very much grown on me. I love the reticules he's got on each eye. He just looks like he's just finished round one and he's ready for round two. Really cool sculpt, and just I'll sing its praises all day if I could. Look like it. It's just so weird and alien, and with the way the head's shaped, that's like an alien movie, xenomorph alien, but it's with the Imperium. It's got the grenades down there. It's just so cool in every different way, and it's got that sleek the sleek black with edge highlighting for its clothes. It's Warhammer 40,000 borrows a lot from other franchises. I don't think that's controversial to say. And this assassin reminds me of the Black Ops operatives from the original Half-Life game, with the way it is in appearance. The other assassin, the Callous assassin, is similar, but I just think it's a really cool look. It looks really sleek, and I'd love to. It's one that'd be so cool to field in an army. Callous assassin. What can I say? I'm a Night Lords fan, so I love and hate this in equal measure. It's, on the one hand, she killed my Primarch, but on the other hand, look at them. It's so elegant. That pose, the hair going up, it's really dynamic. The kind of the big blade and the gun, it's just so cool. The way they link together, those sticks that's like extra weapons that she could just pull out at any given moment. It's such a phenomenal sculpt, and with the goggles there's just no emotion. You've got no idea what this assassin is doing. Are they after you? Are they after the person behind you? You do not know. There was a Hammer and Bolter episode which featured this assassin, which I thought really encapsulated that notion of you don't know who they're after. And again, they look like the Half-Life Black Ops people to me, so that's definitely a point in its favour from the get-go. I mean, all four assassin models I think look amazing, but I honestly think this one's my favourite sculpt of the four. Jakiro Weaponsmith. It's an orangutan. It's a monkey. I love them, and he's smart. He knows what he's doing, and low key Terry Pratchett vibes. The super smart orangutan in an otherwise all human setting. I just think the Jakiro Weaponsmith looks really cool, and if he's an epic hero, I'd love to field one. If he's not the epic hero, field three, because why wouldn't you field three of these things if you could? I just think it's really amazing. Also, it's an older sculpt and it's going to be more miniature for a miniature, so that's also a point in its favour in my view. This Inquisitor, he's got a two-headed eagle, which I think is awesome, and a big hammer. Love a good hammer of war in Warhammer. And this guy rocks it. The golden armor gives slight Custodes vibes, which is also nice. The flowing cloak, really, the fur line on his back, really unique looking model. And again, that's really what the Agents of the Imperium are about. From my perspective, it's that being unique. It's just something a little bit extra, a little bit more interesting. Phenomenal sculpt and brilliant model to have in your range. Okay, these are one of your battle line units, and they're good and helmeted, and they feel like a ragtag group of pioneers. The guns look kind of improvised. They've got a shield that looks like a converted door. The axe looks like a fire axe. It doesn't look like an axe you get from. It doesn't look like an axe that's made by a blacksmith for war. It doesn't look like a movie prop. It looks like an axe you get at B&Q. It looks like a fire axe, and it makes them all feel a lot more human. Like, not like the Imperial Guard, even human, just regular schmoes. And that's important. It's another level to the setting. And these guys as well, again, they've got the dog as well, which is always a plus. I love good pet in this setting. But again, these guys, they're still helmeted, they've got their guns, they've got their weapons, but they don't feel like super soldiers. And I think that perspective is really important in the setting. They feel like you or me. And I think that just works really well. And that their weapons don't feel the most high tech. But I mean, obviously it is sci-fi, but it doesn't, in relation to like Space Marines or Necrons or Tau, they feel super low tech. And I think that works really well in their favour for this very, very human faction. The classic Inquisitor model. I mean, it looks like it looks like a vampire hunter. It looks like if you told me this was Van Helsing, I would believe you. It's got a proper like old style witch hunter hat, sword, the gun that's flaming. It's just a really classic model in appearance, and it just this guy looks like I think sometimes it's important that they look like what their name is. And if you say an Inquisitor, if you say this is an Inquisitor, you go, yeah, I believe you. That is what an Inquisitor looks like. He looks like he will inquisit. And yeah, I just think it's a really well made sculpt, and it's an old sculpt for certain, but I think it holds up. I really do. And especially because it's the Inquisition, older sculpts work for me because it's less high tech. It's like some person who's just met the qualifications. And I think that's just really nice. He's got a good purity seal as well, which I think is nice as well for the Inquisition to have. Greyfax. And again, I love that crossbow. That crossbow is phenomenal to me. Also, just a thing, she's wearing high heels. If you can fight in heels, respect. The gauntlet's cool. There's evidence of a blade. Lots of cool guns. A really cool model. Again, this one just looks like an Inquisitor. I think it's the hat. I think the hat makes them look inquisitory for me. I mean, if I could 3D print a load of the hats and give them to every character in my Agents of the Imperium range, I so would, because it's just a really cool looking thing. Eisenhorn, the one that everyone wants a TV series based on. Again, understandable. He's got quite a few books where he's an absolute hero. The model looks phenomenal. The weapon he has. This is so classic for the range that make a TV show based off him, make a movie based off him, give this guy more attention. The Inquisition does deserve just more attention in this setting. So yeah, Eisenhorn he deserves the love. He deserves a series. Look at this model. This is just really cool, and I'm happy he gets the love he does. He's not overrated. He's not underrated. He is adequately, accurately rated by this community. Okay, last one, Kyria Draxus. I love what this model represents. The fact that she wields a Xeno weapon and has that dragon on her shows just how important she is to the Imperium, because they let her. And that's incredible. And I love the dragon. I love the little dragon sculpt, and her skull thing on the shoulder pauldron. Beautiful. And it's the same with all these models. They are all so unique and characterful that you can't... I just love them to pieces. The fact that they're now their own faction, they can ally in rather than just being an extra model, is beautiful to me. And they just look really thematic. They're down to the kind of with the civilians a bit more, which makes them more human. And I just think they're so wonderfully needed in this setting, and I'm so happy they exist. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video, guys. And I'm going to say common question of the day. Which Warhammer army are you most happy that it exists. Even if it's not one you own, what are you most happy to have in existence in this setting? And if you want to like this video, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to drop me a subscription so you can see more unbridled positivity in your feed, I'd really appreciate that as well. I've got a Patreon in the description if you want to support me monetarily. And if you want to share this with any friends, I'd really love that too. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have, and until next time, I hope you have a really good day.